We redid our logo and kind of our catch-all phrase. It was home elements and found good. I wanted to do kind of just a creative spin on like the whole farm to table movement and the whole like embracing the South and history and all of that, and how we're really honing in on avoiding even a lot of the reproductions, but going for the actual authentic primitive pieces, and not just saying we're from the South, but actually going out into the deep South and digging through the junkyards and the characters along the way and the stories told. And
it is fun, yeah. I mean, it's not a pretty sight. Like, it's sweaty.
There's nothing attractive about it.
You're usually going into places that have no AC and it's dirty and you're covered in rust and you're, but it's an adventure. We just tend to try to hit the back roads in small towns. Like, you get off the interstate and you follow the smaller little highways that take you through the little one stoplight towns, Most of those towns have kind of dried up, but then there's a few of the retail fronts that have turned into some mom and pop antique stores, and you step into one and then it's like, oh, well, I see what you like. And if you want to go down the road and look for a guy with a red truck parked out front of this building with no sign, red will treat you real nice. Especially small town America. People are nice. People want to talk to you, and
they do want to talk, and they want to support the person that's doing something the same as them too, where they don't find it as a competitive business. They find it as like something they all have in common, and they like to share their stories and share where they've, how they met and how they know each other, and so it ends up being
a long day.
I find that a lot of the shops I go into, if I can't either afford or there's no sort of, ability to mark anything up that they're already selling in their shop, if you strike up a conversation, 9 times out of 10, they have a junk pile behind their store.
Yeah.
And like, I left the woman's cat out in Alabama and noticed that she had just a huge pile of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, Miss Sanders, may I go out there? And she's like, well, sweetie, there's nothing out there but rust. And I was like, yes, ma'am, that's what we like. But Laura and I, being both from Tennessee, I think our accents have mellowed somewhat coming this way. But when you get into those towns, both of our accents and our Southern upbringing and our Southern manners get very thick and very sweet and very takes you a long way. And a lot of the those old gentlemen that want to tell you the story and can only hear out of the one ear, you stand on that one side and third, no sir, and it tends to work out much better than if somebody went in there and tried to push and not listen and not show respect for something, because they truly, if they're collecting, they've been collecting for years, and odds are their dad collected, or they're proud and they're proud, and they want to share it with you and appreciate that you love it like they do. I mean, Mom used to constantly, we would drive around and look at different structures and buildings, and in Tennessee, there would be beautiful homesteads that would be completely collapsing on themselves, and just no one ever came back. Somebody passed, and the house would just be dropping to the ground.
And I mean, if you look at like a column and you find that just that finial top, and if you cut it off and make a candle, holder, or those kinds of pieces are incredibly artful. And if you just look at it in a new way of how you can use it and bring it back to life, it's so much more exciting than going out and buying something in a brick and mortar store. Because of the floral aspect of what we do, we could see, well, if we take this lid off and we put, a plant or a flower design coming out of it, or especially if it hangs on the wall and put a succulent in it, like, we can see it as something that we can use as a design in the store as well and something different with it.
I think what's been so interesting is not like appreciating, and able to do something that we love just by digging and scratching and collecting things that we think are beautiful, but it's then looking at it and going, man, that would be amazing with a classic white orchid arrangement in it, because it's that interesting juxtaposition of like rust and had this utilitarian kind of purpose that now we've taken it and given it a whole nother purpose. So that's what we really like, looking at them just from a completely different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have art backgrounds, and so it's just another way of using our art, artistic background.
It's ready.
This is when you start to feel like you're playing Tetris and try to stack it.
Always very good at Tetris.
It's rusty gold.